Good evening, everyone, and welcome to This Week from Rockdale. And I am your host, Larry Cox. I think we're going to have an informative, exciting show tonight for you. First, let me start off by welcoming some people to the show this evening. I would like to welcome, first of all, in the chat, let's see, we have Lisa Lancaster, um, Maria Withers, CJ Lester, Cheryl Garcia, Mary Boisworth, Megan Walker, Lisa Lancaster, Dan Burks, Justin Kinney, William Campbell. And I know we have a lot more people that are watching and a lot more people that are tuning in. Good evening, Clayton Norwick. Um, Catherine Lynn just joined the show. Guys, we're going to be talking about some very important and some disturbing things tonight. You guys may recall about a month ago, CT, Corliss Turner, good evening, Corliss. About a month ago, I discussed Sherry Washington and some possible problems that she was going to have with the Georgia Bar Association. And so a lot of this has come to light that Sherry Washington did have some issues with the State Bar Association, that some people came forward. They made some complaints about Commissioner Washington and some things that she has done. I thought the best way for us to do this is for you to watch the report from Channel 5. So I'm going to play this report from Channel 5. I'm going to let you guys watch it. And then after the report from Channel 5 plays, then I'm going to come on here. I'm going to give some additional information that I've been able to discover since the report was filed. And we're going to talk about this for about half the show. And then I've got some issues we're going to talk about with the SPLOST and the courthouse and such after that also. But this first half of the show is going to be dedicated to Sherry Washington and her exploits as an attorney. I'm the best way I can say it. So here we go. Let me go and do this and this.
An investigation found several people filed state bar complaints against the local county commissioner, claiming they hired her as their lawyer, but she did no work on their cases.
And there's more. The State Bar Disciplinary Review Board recommended that Rockdale County Commissioner Sherry Washington be disbarred because of some of those complaints.
Well, senior IT reporter Del Russell is here now with the story. Del?
Russ, these things happen like this sometimes. Our investigation began with just one complaint about Commissioner Washington from a woman in Covington. $3,000. It was August 2021. To date, she says she filed a bar complaint, but hasn't seen a penny.
We don't have no money, and she's still sitting on the commission board, getting paid, and we out here suffering. I'm not understanding.
Well, what do you say to Tracy Belcher?
I wish you well.
She says you took money from her and did no work. Ms. Washington, please.
Our IT investigation found Tracy Belcher is far from alone.
I was totally shocked at the case file. The size of it, the detail of it, I had no idea.
In 2017, Deshaun Mayweather hired Sherry Washington to handle her divorce. She said she had a strong case. Adultery. Her husband had fathered a child with his girlfriend and had taken nude photos and videos of Mayweather without her knowledge, according to a State Bar disciplinary report. But there was one big problem. When the case came to trial, Sherry Washington didn't tell her client and didn't show up. Not once, but twice. Deshaun didn't know about the missed trial dates until she looked the case up at the courthouse. She discovered her attorney did not appear for trial. The judge denied Deshaun any spousal support or any of her husband's retirement savings and ordered her to pay his attorney fees, $5,000. What was your reaction?
I cried. I was in Fulton County Courthouse and I cried. It's very hard to believe. It was an open and shut case.
Deshaun ultimately sued Sherry Washington and won a judgment for $48,000 plus interest. To get paid, she had to garnish Washington's county commission salary. What do you say to these people who say that you took their money and did no work? But Mayweather wasn't done. She filed a State Bar of Georgia complaint against Sherry Washington. In the bar complaint, Washington's lawyer argued she missed those trial dates because she didn't receive emails through the court system and due to administrative staffing difficulties. We examined all 286 pages and found two more of Washington's clients filed bar complaints. The bar found Washington did nothing in one case and took no action in the other. In the case file, Sherry Washington said she did not have any record of the client paying her for legal work, and in the other case, she claimed she had a serious car accident and sustained a concussion that caused her failure to communicate. But that's not all. The file shows the State Bar earlier disciplined Washington 5 different times, dating back to 2011.
I don't want to say I'm furious. It's hurtful to think about the other people that's going through this. And I mean, I had no idea that there were others. I mean, my heart goes out to them.
After an exhaustive investigation, a State Bar Review Board found Commissioner Washington failed to take any action to protect the interests of her clients, failed to appear in court, and failed to refund fees which were not earned. The recommendation, disbar. Are you going to fight the disbarment?
Wow. It's sad.
Sherry Washington refused to talk about the cases, so Deshaun Mayweather and Tracy Belcher gave the closing arguments.
Why should she get to sit on the commission board and get a salary, but not pay the people that she took from?
What's the worst part of all of it?
Having to relive it and seeing business going on as usual, as if it never happened.
Law enforcement, but she also had an uncle that
Now, the State Bar's Disciplinary Review Board recommendation was filed with the state Supreme Court in March. There's a window for a written exception to the report to be filed, and the court will issue its final judgment in the case. Russ, Courtney?
It's surprising that she could remain in that position after what we heard from those two women.
Yeah, it's, obviously that's two different issues. Her job as a professional as a lawyer and her job as a county commissioner. But I think a lot of people in the community didn't know about all these legal issues until tonight, hopefully. And we didn't know that there were so many cases in this file that the State Bar investigation turned up. As I said, it started with Tracy Belcher talking to us and led to this.
Well, those women deserve an explanation, that's for sure.
I would like to see her give that to them, but we gave her the opportunity and you saw what she did.
Yeah, thanks.
Guys, I'd just like to, you guys saw this report. We talked about this about a month ago, and we let you know that this was most likely going to happen. And since that report came out, I've had several phone calls from other individuals who have been taken advantage of by Sherry Washington also. I've had individuals call me and tell me that they also paid legal fees and that Sherry Washington took their money and failed to provide services. One of the individuals actually shared text messages with me um, that show a communication that she had with Sherry Washington asking her to refund her money. And Sherry told her that she didn't have the money. And if she couldn't represent her, then they would have to, she would just have to do what she had to do. And I think we all know there's no possibility now. Sherry's not going to be representing her. But I've got sources that have told me that she has surrendered her license. I don't feel I don't feel that that I'm going out on a limb and saying something that's not accurate. I mean that the state bar had already recommended that they be that she be disbarred. And from what the sources had told me, that the surrendering the license is a way of possibly getting them back. But the person told me that they make the hurdle so high that the likelihood of being able to be reinstated is extremely slim. So, and it just looks better to have surrendered a license rather than being disbarred, is what I was told. So, here in the next week or so, a couple of weeks, we should hear some more information about that. But we have also been talking about some issues, and some people sent me some information today about Sherry Washington having tax liens. And at this time, we are looking into the tax liens because if you run for office in the state of Georgia, you have to actually file documents that state you do not owe back taxes. And if you owe back taxes, you're not allowed to run for office in the state of Georgia. So what we're looking into to see is, at the time Sherry Washington has ran for this commission post and reelection, did she in fact owe taxes that she was not into a repayment settlement with the federal government? Because if she owed taxes and was not in a settlement agreement with the federal government at that time, then she would have falsified some documents and should not have ran for office. So it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on with this stuff as we move forward. I personally think that Sherry Washington should resign her position as commissioner of Rockdale County. But to do that, one might have to have a shred of character. They might have to feel that they've done something wrong. You guys witnessed the same video that I did when she was asked about it, asked for comment. Just that blank look, not saying anything, ignoring the issue. This is an issue, guys, that's not going to go away. I mean, it is just not going to go away. And the voters of Rockdale County, they deserve more than that. And I'm going to be bringing some additional things up on the computer here. So as I'm talking, I'm going to be doing a little bit of typing and doing this. So bear with me, because my talent level at this is iffy. But as I get these things up here, I want to share with the Rockdale Voter Group has started an email that will go to the commissioners, go to Commissioner Washington, and will go to the board, and it will be requesting Commissioner Washington to resign. So I'm going to bring that up on the screen, and I'm going to tell you how to go to it and where to go to it, so that we're able to start a movement in this county to get Sherry Washington out of office. And CJ, I know you've already signed it. I know Lisa Lancaster has signed it. I know Cheryl Garcia has signed it. It's like that romper room. I see you, I see you, I see you. And we know these people, and as well as myself, I have already signed it also. If you'll look here at the page, this is the Rockdale voter group. I'm actually going to go back to the beginning here right now where we were at. So here we are at the Rockdale voter group page. You just go to therockdalevoter.com and you scroll down to where it says submit your request for Commissioner Sherry Washington's legislation, and you click here. And when you click there, then you'll go down, you'll come to this page where it talks a little bit about Sherry, about the News 5 show story. If you want to watch the Channel 5 story, again, you can click there. You can watch the story. Then it goes down to here. You can fill out this questionnaire, your name, your address, your city, your state, all that, and you click it, and an email will go on your behalf asking for Sherry Washington to resign. All three of the commissioners will get this. I don't agree with Alex on this. I think if she runs again, she'll get defeated, because I think that people like you and me, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to make sure that everybody's aware of it, and there'll be a candidate, I'm sure, that's going to run, and they're going to continue to expose this behavior. I have a good feeling that Sherry Washington's day of terror is almost over, but it will only be over if people like you don't let this issue drop, and we keep going and we keep moving. And Al, I agree with, we have people that shouldn't be elected to office, and the reason they get elected to office is because we do not have good local news coverage. There is basically no way for the voters of this area to find out about these things. And the Rockdale Citizen, you can go look at the Citizen, and it is just not a local newspaper any longer. They copy and paste stories from other outlets. They've got a few columnists that write a few things. They will write an occasional local piece once every couple of weeks. But the Rockdale Citizen is just not a local investigative newspaper like it was 20, 25 years ago. I've spoken with former Rockdale County elected officials who told me 20, 25 years ago that this stuff would never have flown. Because of this nonsense, because we do not have the people knowing things and knowing what's going on, that's what goes on. I've just got a feeling that Sherry Washington has pushed it to the limit. That this kind of thing will resurface. That people will lose confidence in someone like Sherry Washington, and that she'll lose. And I think that what we will see here is this. I think we see that for the news to get out, it's going to have to be things like This Week from Rockdale. It's going to have to be things like the Rockdale Voter that's going to be putting things on their website. It's going to be the Rockdale Republican Party will put things on their site to help educate Rockdale County citizens and voters. But it's going to be citizens doing this. It's going to be you guys that are in this chat now that participate in that forum next door. You guys are going to have to get that word out. You're going to have to start sharing things. Right now, we're in a battle right now with the SPLOST, and Alex and we've cut some commercials, some videos that explain this in detail, that tell you the danger of it, and we begin to post those and get those out there. And it's up to you, the citizens, to actually help this. And you're right. Charlotte just said the newspaper did it after the Channel 5 report. And I agree with that. That's what happened. After the Channel 5 report, that's exactly what's happened. So you guys see this, what we've just shared with you. just now about, go to the rockdalevoter.com, fill out the email, send it in, let them know that enough is enough. We're asking additional questions this week. We're wanting to find out, is this just a civil matter? Could this become a criminal matter? Because we've got questions into legislators, we've got questions into other attorneys and judges. So the citizens of Rockdale County want to know what their choices are and what their options are. And I have these individuals who have been conned by Sherry Washington, and their monies have been taken, and they've reached out to me about what they should do next. And I told them early this coming week, I will give them some information about what to do. And I've got some calls out, and I've got some research going on to try to determine that. And, guys, and that's something we have to do. We just can't abandon these people. We've got, we can't let this occur. We've got to continue the good fight, and we've got to let people know that the elected officials, that's who we have to let know. We have to let these characters know that enough is enough, and it's time that the citizens of Rockdale County fight back with their vote and with their voice. A loud voice of a population can make change. It has happened many, many, many a time. And the citizens of Rockdale County, through their voice and through their vote, can make a change in this county. Guys, I recommend this. I recommend that, the Democrats in this Democrat primary, I recommend that you change Doreen Williams. Don't vote for Doreen Williams. Voting for Doreen Williams is the same as voting for Sherry Washington. They're interchangeable. There's nothing different between those two. We need a clean sweep of that Board of Commission board. You've got two other options. You've got Efat Walker and you've got Renee Simpson. So do your research, decide between those candidates, and don't cast a vote for Doreen Williams. Doreen Williams has been there 2 terms. She's been there long enough to accomplish something if she would have been able to. She's proven that she's inept and not able to accomplish anything. She claims to be the voice of reason on the board, and I question that's not accurate. And she touts this mental health thing that she's always talking about. And if I would be truthful, I think just a few feet away from her, there may be a mental health issue she needs to deal with, and she's ignored that for 8 years. So that's just my opinion. I just think that may be something. So, guys, I think that the citizens of Rockdale County can make a difference, and to make that difference, we just need to know that we can. So, guys, let's do the right thing for Rockdale County. Let's say enough is enough, and let's do the right thing. So I'm going to play another video if you guys indulge me. And this is a video that Al and I cut this past week, and it talks about the courthouse, and I really like you guys to listen to it.
Now that the Public Facilities Authority has been passed into law behind our back, it's even more important for us to put more scrutiny on this loss. I'm here at the new City of Conyers City Hall building that was built for less than $15 million. It's an example of how far your money can go if used properly, based on a community's need rather than the desires of an elected official. At the same time the funding of this building was approved, the voters of Rockdale County made themselves loud and clear by voting down a $140 million proposal to build the most expensive courthouse in Georgia history. While we agree there is a need for a new courthouse in Rockdale County, we know that there are ways to do this that meet our needs and within our means. One of those ways is to utilize funding mechanisms already available to us, the SPLOST, and to adopt the plan created by the Courthouse Committee, building at Parker Road for less than $30 million. if the county were to build here at Parker Road, property we already own, property that was purchased with the intent of building a courthouse, property that is perfectly situated within the county, we could avoid decades of PFA-funded debt for the homeowners of Rockdale County. Unfortunately, the way the current SPLOST is written, this is impossible. And that's why it's important to defeat the SPLOST on May 24th and to reintroduce it the correct way, including a specific project to implement the courthouse committee's $30 million plan to build here at Parker Road. On May 24th, vote no to the SPLOST to end the cycle of financial abuse.
So that was a little ad that Alex and I filmed this past week, and I want to give a great shout out to Alex for everything he does when we do these things. I mean, because he puts his time into it, uses his own equipment, his own time, edits those things and puts them together, and I think they're done really well. And and Alex is he cares about this community, and he does these kind of things. And without people that care and put the effort in, then you guys don't have these resources to know what's going on in the community. So, just thank Alex for that if you could in the chat. Thank him for everything that he does, and then also go watch Alex on the TPS report because he's rebranded the Politics Show to the TPS report. So go and watch Alex on Mondays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. And he talks about a lot of informative things that are more national. He does some state stuff sometimes, but it's mostly national, and it's relevant things that impacts your life. So give Alex some thanks for everything he does here in Rockdale, and I recommend that you go and watch his show too, because these things need to be brought to attention. So if you notice, we talked about the courthouse and the SPLOST, and I wasn't going to talk about this tonight, but there's some information that came to me this in the last few days that I felt it necessary, because this ties into Sherry Washington also. Because what I was informed is that there is a secret courthouse committee that has met to determine what the county should do with the PFA funds. So I was informed that Sherry Washington organized this committee. I was informed that Sue Sanders is the person overseeing the committee. So, and I have also been informed that this committee has already met. If we all remember, and I think there may be a member or so of the former courthouse committee that is on the chat right now, that it was determined that committee fell under the Open Meetings Act, and that they could not have meetings in private and in secret. So here the county goes again under the guidance of Sherry Washington, organizing a committee to determine how they're going to spend our tax dollars with a citizens committee, and doing it in the darkness and in secret. And I have heard that they intend on having some sort of public meeting in May, but they have already had at least one meeting in private, probably will have another meeting in private, and they have violated the Open Meetings Act. Because if the county is sponsoring this and it is being overseen by a county official, this committee falls under the preview of the Open Meetings Act, and they should not have had a meeting in secret. There are open records requests that will be going out this week. I think they may have already been asked. Does this committee exist? Was it organized by Sherry Washington? Is Director Sanders overseeing it? And a list of the members of the committee. This is something that is owed to the taxpayers of Rockdale County. Taxpayers of Rockdale County, I ask you this question in sincerity. Are you sick and tired of this Board of Commission, time and time again, going behind our backs, rolling out these programs, rolling out ideas, and pretending that they hadn't been discussing them months prior to rolling them out. They've got caught with their hand in the cookie jar on this one. They got caught organizing their secret committee to determine how to spend your tax dollars. And from what I understand, this committee is they're deciding on how to spend those tax dollars on a courthouse in Old Town Conyers. That the Parker Road facility is not even on the table. So, guys, that is just crazy. Is it not crazy that the Parker Road facility is not even going to be considered, not on the table? Been reviewing that piece of legislation that enacted the Public Facilities Authority. They've got their $110 million cap. It can only be a 65-year committee that they have to, because of where it times out and the lifespan of it, they'll have to make the decisions of what they're wanting to do with the PFA by 2024, because they can only bond everything for 40 years and the committee has to be disbanded by 2065. So that means by 2024, they're going to have to make some decisions because the bonds can only be for 40 years. So we've got some very interesting things coming up here with this Board of Commission and what this Board of Commission is doing. So I think that what we've got to do is we've got to defeat this SPLOST. It is so important that this SPLOST is defeated, because without this slush fund, and that's what this slush fund is. This slush fund allows them to do what they're going to do with the PFA. Probably the same people that will form the PFA committee too. They should be blocked from I agree. There will be a PFA committee. The PFA, the way the new legislation is written, is the Board of Commissioners will appoint 2, the Chief Judge will appoint 2, and the District Attorney will appoint 1. So that's a 5-person board. That's crazy, but the Board of Commission will only be able to appoint 2 of the 5 members. The Chief Judge will appoint 2, and the District Attorney will appoint 1. My concern is that this is what I see that happen. We had this conversation, and people, well, how can they use if this SPLOST passes? They introduced it illegally, guys. I mean, they introduced it with categories and not projects like they were intended. So since they don't have any projects listed, they really don't have to do anything specific with that money if it's passed. If they pass this SPLOST illegally, they will be able to do and allocate anything they want, because they don't have a SPLOST committee in place for this next SPLOST. They said they would appoint one at the time after it was passed. I actually question whether they'll appoint another SPLOST committee. I think we may have seen our last SPLOST committee, because didn't they do this exact same thing with the Rockdale Water and Sewer Authority? When they were done with it, they were done with it, even though it's against the law, and they are required by law to appoint members, they don't. So, and they're not required by law to have this oversight committee, guys. And they mentioned that and have mentioned that. So we need to realize that this oversight committee, I think, is going to go away, because they've not already chosen a new oversight committee for the new SPLOST. I think it will be a revamped type committee. It will be a much smaller committee with a handful of people on it that will actually rubber stamp anything and allocate funds in any direction that the board wants, and it'll just be a cover. So the $110 million if we pass this SPLOST, it'll go to the courthouse in Old Town. I will guarantee you, I will guarantee you, they will mysteriously be able to take $30 or $40 million from the SPLOST then to allocate to the courthouse, because the 110 doesn't get them what they want. Now, they got a public facilities authority, guys, but it wasn't the authority that they wanted, because it's not the authority that allows them to build what they wanted to build. So they're still in a little bit of a pickle here. They're in a quagmire because they still need that SPLOST funding to be able to build that courthouse in Old Town, because they got short funded on their PFA. And that's just the facts, guys. They got short funded on their PFA, and they need our tax dollars. They need our SPLOST funds to be able to finish the financing for that courthouse. That's right, Alan. It allows them to take money from the SPLOST. I'm gonna put that one up there, Alex, because that is 100% true. And people, it's exactly what I'm saying. It allows them to take money from the SPLOST. So they will have a $140 million courthouse if we pass this SPLOST. To not have this courthouse in Old Town, we've got to defeat this SPLOST. And it's going to take you guys spreading the news. So what I, again, would like to ask you to do is, we posted this video explaining some information about this SPLOST on my old campaign website, Cox for Rockdale. So I'm asking each and every one of you to go to Cox for Rockdale, and I would love for you to share that video. And let's do that the only way to get this message out is to share these words, to share these messages. And we've got to do this. We've got to start sharing the word and sharing the message and spreading the news. Because as we've determined, the Rockdale Citizen is no longer the local newspaper. Its subscriptions are way down, and it doesn't report local news. Very rarely does a local article, and when it does, the reach isn't there. Our show, even though we do what we do, we still have limited reach on our show also. The Rockdale Voter, we have got contributions from citizens. We've been able to acquire a billboard on I-20 through the end of through May 24th. We've been able to acquire signs that we've got in the community. We've been able to boost and post the ads that Alex has been so gracious to be able to make for us that we didn't have to pay for. But we're running those commercials on Facebook. We were able to print literature that we've been able to hand out. But now we're asking for your help. We're going to need your help at early voting. We're going to need people to wave signs out in front of early voting to make people aware to vote no for the SPLOST. We want to organize a couple of Saturday sign waving events where we go out to the heavily traveled intersections in Rockdale County off of 138 to wave our vote no SPLOST signs to get the word out, so people will go to the Rockdale Voter website. So they'll go to Cox for Rockdale, look at the commercials that are running. It's up to us, guys. We have to share these videos. We can make a difference. I'm going to share this one that Alex put. The folks have to share. The videos only reach a few hundred people by itself. If 10 people share it, it reaches a few thousand. And that's what we need, guys. We need for you guys to go right now. Go right now and share those videos. Do you want to make a difference in your community? Do you want to take your tax dollars back? If you do, it's time to start now. And we can do it by defeating this SPLOST and sending a sound message to this Board of Commission that enough is enough. If you want to send a sound message to this commission, go to the rockdalevoter.com, fill out the question, the email that goes to the Board of Commission, and let them know that we want Sherry Washington to resign. We can do this, guys, but it's going to take all of us to do it. It's going to take everybody to do this. Corliss Turner, the video is already on there. That is great to hear, Corliss. Thank you for sharing it. And I think we've got people that have already been putting it on Nextdoor and sharing the word on Nextdoor. And guys, I'm telling you, if we work hard and we put an effort forward, then we can make a big difference. Let me put what Charlotte has put up here and let's see. We all need to attend the next BOC meeting, like we did with Trashgate, and tell Oz as the board and CEO of the county that we need to recommend Sherry that she resign immediately. I think I agree with that. And I'll tell you, guys, also I'm going to do some reaching out to the legislature and find out if the governor can possibly remove Sherry Washington. Because if we all remember, Jim Beck was elected insurance commissioner and was removed from office before he was actually convicted of anything. There were alleged acts. So the governor was able to remove him from office, suspend him from office when Jim Beck was just alleged of impropriety. Sherry Washington has been found negligent in civil court. She has been found that she was complicit in malfeasances with her acts toward one of her clients. She was found in the wrong and required to pay penalties, and her salary with the Board of Commission was garnished. And with my research, just to let you guys know, that is an act that falls under the guidelines of being a recall. The recall guidelines are so high, guys. I'm just going to tell you how that would go, and there's some people that are looking into it. You would first have to get some individuals to file what their recall question would be, and it would have to be about the malfeasance, and it would be regarding the one where she was actually found negligent, because you can't deny it. She was found negligent, and award was awarded against her for that. So that can't be denied, and it would meet the standard. Then you have to get 100 people to sign a petition, which would go to the judge. The judge would rule whether it would fall within the guidelines. Then after there was a ruling of yes, this falls within the guidelines, then you have 90 days to collect 30% of the signatures of those who were registered voters at the time of her reelection. I did some quick math and looked at some numbers the other day. That's about 18,500 signatures. So that's a real high threshold, and you have 90 days. I think the forcing to resign and possibly looking into the governor being able to remove her from office, because the governors have removed commissioners from office before. They've done it in DeKalb County. The governor has recently removed the Clayton County sheriff for irregularities. So I think this is something that does fall within the powers of the governor of Georgia. So I think that's something that it's worth looking into, and it's something that's worth asking about. So it is something that I intend to do this week and check on it. And I agree with what Charlotte said. A large group of individuals do need to go to the Board of Commission office, and they do need to ask that she resign. And these things need to be done, guys. So I ask you today, take a stand. Go to the rockdalevoter.com. Do the email. Ask Sherry Washington to resign. Go to Cox for Rockdale and share that video so that we can get thousands and thousands of views, so that the citizens of Rockdale County know what's going on. Let's keep them aware. Let's increase the viewership of This Week from Rockdale so that people are informed, so that we can do the stories like we're doing. Next week, I intend to find out additional information about this secret courthouse committee. I intend to expose this to the citizens of Rockdale County because this is just a blatant disrespect to us, the voters and the taxpayers. Let me tell you, one of my colleagues has told me this is the issue. He said, this government that represents us, these individuals, are used to doing what they want and have gone unchecked for so long that they don't see themselves accountable to anyone. I have to agree with that. I think this is what our basic problem is, that we have a group of individuals that think themselves untouchable, that no matter what they do, that nobody cares, they'll still get reelected. Democrats of Rockdale County, you can send a strong message May 24th. You can send a very strong message by denying Dr. Doreen Williams that third term in office. And it's hard to believe that she's been able to serve 3 terms and be incompetent. Did I just say that out loud? Oh, I think I did. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. She is incompetent. The whole board's incompetent. Jeff Durham says we need 5 commissioners. I do think we need 5 commissioners. I've had that conversation with EFAT Walker. EFAT Walker supports 5 commissioners. So, guys, we can make a difference. And the way to make a difference is to let your voice be heard and let your vote be heard. So beginning May 2nd, early vote starts. Get out, early vote. May 24th is election day. Get out and vote. I will be asking for volunteers. We will be including a sign up on the Rockdale voter page this week for people to sign up to be able to wave signs at early voting. Lisa Lancaster also says that Renee Simpson supports 5 commissioners. So we have 2 candidates that are running for that post that support 5 candidates. So do your homework. Ask the questions. Don't vote for Doreen Williams. Vote for one of those other 2 candidates. That's what I tell you Democrats to do. I'm a Republican. I'm pulling a Republican ballot. I will not be voting in that primary. But if I was, I would not be voting for Dr. Doreen Williams. It is very important for me to pull my Republican ballot because there's some ballot questions that I want to answer. Those ballot questions, I think, will be very telling to what direction the voters of Rockdale County think this county should go in. Those ballot questions ask you, do you want a $30-40 million courthouse at Parker Road, or do you want 140 plus in Old Town? Those ballot questions, they ask you several other things about Rockdale County. So next week on the show, we'll talk about those ballot questions and the importance of those ballot questions, as well as the secret courthouse committee. So next week, those are the things we're going to talk about. And I remind you again, and I can't overemphasize this, go to the rockdalevoter.com. Do the email request asking Sherry Washington resign. Call your friends, email your friends, get them to do the same. Spread the word. Go to Cox for Rockdale on Facebook. Share the videos that we talk about the SPLOST and why it's bad for Rockdale County. Lisa Lancaster, I remember when Renee ran for commission 2 years ago, she did support 5 commissioners. So she did. I recall that when she was on This Week in Rockdale 2 years ago. She did say she supported a 5 commission board. So unless she's changed her mind, and she can correct me if she's watching or send something. But before I get off here, I do want to do a little correction. So last week, I stated, and I may have stated that Representative Taylor signed on to for the PFA to go onto the consent agenda. Representative Taylor wanted me to know she did not sign for the PFA to go on the consent agenda, that it was 4-2. Representative Taylor informed me that she did vote for the calendar, and she voted for the calendar because the bill that she also introduced that increased the property tax exemption from 35 to 50,000 was on the same calendar. So it was an up and down vote to put all items that were on the calendar through or not. So she told me she did not sign the request about putting the PFA legislation on the calendar, but she did vote to approve the calendar because her legislation regarding the senior exemption was on the calendar also. I did want to clarify that, and I did see that also Senator Anderson made some sort of ridiculous comment about, well, this legislation flows differently. Very much aware the legislation flows differently, Senator Anderson. We actually talked about that on the show, how it flows differently, but this legislation flowed a lot quicker than any other local legislation that had ever been attempted to be introduced for Rockdale County. It took Representative Taylor a lot more than 4 days to get her legislation through for the property tax exemption. So let's not pretend here, guys. That was Senator Strickland that was able to streamline that legislation, and he should be on the hot seat about it. And Senator Anderson, you are in the hot seat too because you represent Rockdale County. It should be difficult for you to win that seat. You'll probably win it this time, but I encourage Rockdale County Democrats in 2 years to find a strong Democrat that lives in Rockdale County, because Rockdale County deserves to have the senator from 43 to live in Rockdale County. And that's an opinion that I'll stand by. Whether you do a good job or not, Rockdale County should have that seat. And that's my opinion. And that's what I believe, and that's what I'll stand by. So, guys, thank you for joining me this evening. And thank you for always supporting us. And I'm going to just thank you in advance because I know you're going to go to the rockdalevoter.com and sign those petitions. And I know you're going to go to Cox for Rockdale and share and like those videos, because with your help, we can make anything happen. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you all next week.